seems to be experiencing some technical difficulty. There we go.
We're fine. Oh, are we on? Oh, we're good. Okay, hi everybody. All right, welcome to 8-Bit Chat, or 8-Bit Chat. I'm your host, Angelo Oriam. Alongside of me is the illustrious PC boy, Parker Carlson.
Illustrious.
I know, yeah. Do you play on the old PC?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely. No other way.
It's why your parents. It's either why your parents named you Parker Carlson.
It's a little bit of a give and take.
Okay,
yeah, like the universe
or it
just
could be
came
the opposite.
together.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I was going to say, is your middle name Master Race? Or?
I wish.
Parker Master Race Carlson. And to my left, to your right, I don't know, what's a good adjective? I already used up illustrious.
I don't know.
The enigmatic Michael Smith. Hi, buddy. How you doing today?
Good.
You good?
I don't know what enigmatic means.
Pretty
You
soon we're going to
feeling,
have a dictionary here with us.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Yeah, I'm
probably
not the
at one point.
adjective guy anymore, so.
So today we have a super special episode for you guys for our first episode back. We are going to start off for the first few minutes. We're going to go through the news like we would normally for a large amount of the show. But the bulk of our show today is going to be dedicated to the new game. I can feel the depression on your face. Featuring the iconic web slinger Spider-Man, or Marvel's Spider-Man. I hate that it's labeled as that, and then I have to put it in the M's in my video game. It's a whole shebang. But we're gonna start off. We're gonna talk mostly about that this show. But first off, we're gonna start off with the news. The breaking news. First off, before we talk about Spidey, breaking as in a half hour before we started the show, the Walking Dead developer Telltale Games has shut down for the final time. It shut its doors, which
Interesting.
I have never been more disappointed in my life right now.
Which this I'm not exaggerating. I tweeted out as soon as it happened. I unironically, like not trying to be dramatic, jaw dropped. I was like,
Yeah.
because I thought it was fake. It wasn't. It's very real. It's very real, and it is officially confirmed.
With all the news going on with like they're producing Wolf Among Us and all these other games, I didn't believe that they could just shut down just out of nowhere. I would have thought like there would have been more leading up to it, but I can't believe that it just all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm. What games, Michael, do you have experience with the Telltale Games franchise?
A few.
the developer?
I've played some of the Walking Dead ones.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. It's not really my style of game.
Mm-hmm.
It's more of just like the classic
Yeah.
point and click adventure narrative.
Yeah,
really.
definitely. The big thing about it is that they're really the main guys doing it out there now, or at least
They're
obviously
like
hindsight.
the modern point and click. No one else is really going at it the way that they have been.
I mean, the only other game that really did that was
Life is Strange.
Life is Strange.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true, and they're still doing that as well.
Yeah.
Double Fine, the other other company that's still doing stuff, they're getting Psychonauts 2 out. They still do the same kind of adventure-style games. That being said, they take a lot longer in between.
When you said Double Fine there, my heart just sank a little
No,
bit
they
because
didn't
they're not
close
close.
down.
They're
No,
not
they're good.
close.
But the thing is, it's not. Telltale is a very strange company in regards to that. They always have 3 or 4 projects going on at once. They have
Right.
super important IP, super significant series. Obviously, The Walking Dead. My personal favorite was Tales from the Borderlands, which unfortunately means now we'll probably never get a sequel. To that. I know, yeah.
Dang it. Oh my gosh.
But
just
here's
forgot
the
about
scoop
that.
before we get into
I
though.
forgot about Tales from the Borderlands.
They
How
are
could I?
currently airing the final season of Walking Dead. That is
Okay.
going to be finished.
At least I will get at least a little bit of closure
Yeah.
in that regard, but I was still really banking on The Wolf Among Us Part 2.
Apparently, it is a small group of people who are going to stay behind and finish The Walking Dead final season. The Wolf Among Us Season 2, as you mentioned, and the announced but never, we hadn't seen anything else because they probably haven't started working on it, Telltale or Stranger Things game that is now canceled.
Oh, I forgot to announce that.
They acquired the IP and everything. That means no. Yeah. Okay. So let's go through here. That means no season 2 of Game of Thrones, which they did years ago, and they said they were going to continue. Wasn't that great, but
Yeah.
still. Batman. They won't have a season 3.
I haven't played Season 2, so I
haven't
can't
either.
play it that much. I played the first one and I wasn't too
Tales
much.
from the Borderlands. Apparently
They
not
made
gonna have
that
it.
Game of Thrones one too at one point.
That's what I just said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, Game of Thrones, Borderlands, Batman, Walking Dead's going to end anyway, and no Stranger Things, and a lot of people wanted like Firefly. It's huge. It's huge, and I'm very, very surprised. It's one of those things that apparently it's budgetary. It's the fact that they couldn't get enough money in.
I would have thought from like them doing the whole Guardians of the Galaxy
That
and
too,
those,
forgot, yeah.
that they would have at least gotten more budget to do what their main program list is. But I guess I was wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Agreed. I feel like the games probably sell well, but I feel like it's kind of the opposite of that. It's since they get such big IP, such big series as Guardians, Walking Dead, not Borderlands, Game of Thrones, that it probably costs a lot. They're making 3 games at once or something, spending a lot of money on workers, and they probably just can't keep up, I guess, with that, which really sucks.
What I'm surprised with is that they just straight up are closing. Didn't announce
No warning.
that they were going to close, because I feel like plenty of
People
big,
would have at
big
least
names, EA, Microsoft,
Yeah.
Sony, like the big 3, any one of them might pick that up.
And I'm surprised that they didn't start downsizing first. I would have thought
Layoffs,
yeah, at least like close down a studio or something first.
I think they
and
only
then-
have one, to be fair. But
Okay, well,
yeah. No, agreed. It's how out of the blue it is what is the saddest thing about it. But there's a lot of people on Twitter, Sony Santa Monica and whatnot, tweeting out about if you just got if you were now unemployed, that they'll open their doors for you, that kind of thing. But I was talking, kind of realizing more and more the amount of series that are left on the door now, the kind of series that are canceled and all that kind of stuff. I wonder if any of these will get picked up by other companies. That being said, I don't know who would do it. I don't know. Walking Dead's their biggest staple. If that never ended, I think there'd be some craze. But other than that, I kind of think we just kind of got to lose these things. But that's kind of how it rolls.
I mean,
sometimes.
I'm saying now, because one of the things I've always said with Telltale games after the first one, it's like they have all these big name games and they're like massive successes, apparently not so much maybe, or they just don't manage the money well. I've always find it strange that after like the first few games, their engine is not great.
That's exactly what I was going to bring
It
up.
is terrible.
While
And I
this
was
news is
wondering-
shocking, it's not surprising given that they haven't improved their games at all.
Yeah,
they're all the same quality.
Yeah, you have to imagine that that's something about sacrificing, we talk about Double Fine, how it's like a normal game company takes a couple years, a year at least or something off. Telltale is constantly going and chugging, not taking time off to update their engine and make it run smoothly and look better. Because, I'm thinking, Quantic Dream does similar stuff, and additionally, the Until Dawn guys, who I'm forgetting at the moment, there are still Supermassive. So there are still companies who are doing it, but like those games look gorgeous. It's like they do have their style, and again, I love Telltale, and I would have loved nothing more than for them to continue, but it is sort of the same thing. I guess the nuance is the IP every time, rather than any advancements.
I think this really just preaches to quality over quantity. Like
Yeah.
if you have, you can't just keep on pumping out all this sameness.
Yeah,
What
for
was
sure.
disappointing though is because Wolf Among Us 2 was like one of their most anticipated ones because everyone loved Wolf Among Us, the first
I
one.
absolutely loved it, and
But then
now
they just
I'm
kept
so
cranking
sad.
out other games instead. And then, I mean, this clearly wasn't like something they were planning on because
you
it
announced
was
these
last
things,
year,
yeah.
2 years at E3, they announced Wolf Among Us 2.
Yeah,
That's a good point. Another warning sign would have been like, the last game that they've announced is coming to a close. It would have been a nice send off. But right now, I wonder, fly on the wall in there, how long in advance they knew, because they obviously planned on having these things out, and they planned future proofing, kind of planning 2 years down the line, and it's not always the way it goes sometimes, unfortunately. So yeah, very very sad news there. To start the show, we wish them only the best of luck, and who knows? Maybe we will see. The best possible option is Wolf Among Us is seeing. I would imagine we could potentially see something in that world again someday.
I just hope that the studio that did Life is Strange picks up some of their IPs like Wolf Among Us, and really, because I wasn't a big fan of Life is Strange. I felt like they did a good job making the game. It was a good quality game. So
You didn't like Life is Strange?
I couldn't get into it. It was too
I heard.
It's made by Don't Nod Entertainment.
They're making a couple new things too.
They're
making
making
Life is Strange 2 and the one about the superhero boy.
They just released the vampire game this year.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, definitely a lot still out there in regards to adventure gaming, but the biggest, the king of the hill, so to speak, has been dethroned. So it's, like I said, very sad. But that's hopefully
the way the world works.
way the world works. Okay, so moving into our main topic of the show, we can get away from the sad news and talk about the fastest selling Sony exclusive in history. Speaking of Guardians of the Galaxy, stuff like that, Marvel's newest game, Marvel's Spider-Man, which is apparently going to start off, it's going to kick off the Marvel universe in video games now. Apparently they're going to try and stick, you gotta imagine it's probably going to stay Sony exclusive. It'd be very awkward if Thor was on Xbox too. But so apparently right now they're starting to try and make a universe. They already set up, we're going to try not to spoil it as we have our conversation. It's still rather new, and like maybe in 2 weeks or something we can do I don't know. But they do hint a lot at the expanded universe.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So what are your guys' initial thoughts on Spider-Man? Now that we've all played it to completion, except you're very close to the end.
Very, very close to the end.
Nonetheless, okay.
Unfortunately,
Spoiler-free.
unfortunately, the show got in the way.
All right, so what are your spoiler-free thoughts, Michael? We'll kind of just go broad, and then we can get into the intricate strokes later.
I mean, I don't think I'm out of line saying easily the best Spider-Man game made.
Definitely.
It's kind of hard for the newest, even
Yeah.
if you look at the classics.
Well, just based on like the way technology advances, the web slinging, like because before it was either like multiple for a swing or the one innovation was, I forget which Spider-Man it was, where they had the floating blue hook points.
Amazing Spider-Man 2, I think.
Yeah, they started doing that, and then this is just so fluid and seamless. And the amount of like care they took to show how well
It is very polished. I've never seen a game this polished before.
they have
It is
animations for just about anything that could happen while you're web swinging. Because
Yeah.
you've got different animations for if you go through a fire escape, you can run up fire escapes. Thank God.
Parker, what are your broad stroke thoughts?
Broad strokes. While I loved the game, I felt like some points were a bit repetitive. I loved the combat system, but there were too many collectibles and side activities that were just fighting. But overall, I thought the story was the best Spider-Man story that's been told so far. I absolutely loved the gameplay, and I cannot wait to see what Insomniac has next.
Yes, I would agree with you. I think that I think the game's very good. I think that there are lots of pros to the games. I think that there are a lot of cons to the game. I think that it is the best thing I'll say about it is what you said. Is that I think that this is an amazing foundation. Like I really, really do. I think that this is setting up for future games to be like incredible.
Right.
That being said, you look at the amount of side quests and side content. It's very it's sad, but the closest, we kind of equate these to the Arkham games and stuff like that. Kind of easy to point at similar games. I know that the swinging mechanics are fantastic. The combat is very fun, surprisingly very deep. But a game series that I can really equate this to is Assassin's Creed. I think that a lot of the content is kind of just put on there for length, quantity over quality, and it's fairly disappointing in that regard. The writing also. Not my biggest cup of tea.
There were some beats that I was questioning, but I felt like overall I didn't have too many complaints.
I think overall I kind of don't like the broad strokes. I think the more intricate things.
Okay,
I don't
yeah,
like,
right,
so
right.
weirdly enough. But yeah, like I said, very good, but not this. It's not my game of the year or anything like that. Definitely the best Spider-Man game, as you pointed out, just because of the technological advancements. But no, God of War is still miles away. And I haven't played Dead Cells or Red Dead or anything like that. So still got stuff.
No one's played Red Dead yet.
That's true. That's true.
It
Except a
doesn't come
couple
out till
people,
next year.
a couple people apparently played it for 2 or 3 hours the other day.
Oh.
So I'm sticking away from spoilers at this point. But apparently there are some new things revealed.
Bringing it back to Spider-Man.
Yes,
You
yes.
mentioned side quests.
Okay.
I felt this game was extremely short. I can only count 5 side quests off the top of my head, and they were all done within like 10 minutes or shorter.
Yeah.
It was.
You mean like side quest narratives?
There wasn't
You'll do
really.
the same side quest 1, 2. It's the same plot.
Yeah,
Most
agreed.
of the side quests are one-off. The only ones that really continue are the Tombstone ones.
Yeah, there's one side villain, as you mentioned, Tombstone. Then there's another one with like helping out one citizen over and over and over
Right,
again.
yeah.
It's like, okay, it's the same thing. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that.
Yeah, they try to like introduce minor villains, kind of like the Arkham games. They had like Taskmaster in it for a bit.
Yeah.
I felt like that was just completely shoehorned in. It didn't
Yeah.
really mesh well with what was going on with the rest of the story.
Just because they made it part of like the collectible system, really. It's like if you never did those, you would never know. But most
Right.
of us want to get all the suits and upgrades and stuff, so we did that. But see, at first with collectibles, as I was playing through, because they don't give you everything at first,
Right,
which is
yeah.
smart, because if they put all those dots on your map, I would never finish the game. because I'd be
Assassin's
doing all
Creed
those
Yeah.
yeah, but
The old ACS.
because like once backpacks went on there, I went and grabbed all of them immediately, and same with the towers. Which, if we're talking Assassin's Creed, the towers.
I did the towers immediately.
I did as
before
well.
I did any missions.
Oh yeah, you don't want that map being
Yeah.
empty and naked, disgusting.
The weird flowy map, yeah.
Yeah.
But did that, and then as it slowly gets more, it's like, because I was like halfway through the game, and I was like, when am I gonna get challenge tokens?
Agreed.
Right.
Yeah,
I was like,
agreed,
when is this gonna
100%.
up?
They
And-
wait. They hold it.
And
They
then
hold it out.
yeah, and then they're like, okay, you have the bomb challenge where you have to go and defuse them, and then it's like, okay, and then those popped up, and then you do another one, and then it's like, oh, stealth ones, and then they just like throw all these ones, the
Right.
drone ones, like that. The Taskmaster side, like collectibles, have so many, and I feel like some of them are erroneously hard.
The drone ones are.
See,
Did
the
not care
ones,
for
the
that.
I've had a
drones
lot
are
of
the
trouble
ones
with.
that I have gotten all 6 points on the first try.
Yeah.
The ones for the
Mine was
bombs,
stealth.
I feel like those are designed to be done after the game because as you level up, you get increases like web swing speed,
Right.
like melee.
Yeah, you not
melee
only have
damage.
skills that you can put stuff into. Whenever you level up, they give you something. Like,
Yeah,
they're
they,
like, okay,
they
you're
give you
faster,
bonuses
stronger.
as you level up, and I feel like you need to be at a level to get all of the tokens, which is not a. I don't know if there's enough tokens to where you don't have to get to level 3 to unlock everything, but the way it's done, I'm assuming you might have to get to level 3 to unlock all of the gadgets and suits
Gadgets,
and stuff.
I believe so, or at least fairly
Right.
close. Gadgets are the only thing I haven't 100%.
Which means they made those because the way the scoring works is it's really dumb.
It's
the
really
way I'll say that.
arbitrary.
It's all
and
about
like,
speed, yeah.
It's all about speed, but you don't see that during it because as you're going, you just get points for web slinging the bombs or knocking people out or whatever. And then at the end, it's because you're like, oh, I need to get to 40,000 to get all 6 tokens. And then you're going through and you're like, oh, I'm at like 1,000. What's going on?
Yeah.
And then it ends, and then the time, you don't know how much time is worth, like how much a second is worth
Right.
point-wise. So you just get done and you're like, oh, I have 20,000.
It'd be pretty cool to have like the scale of the you have a gold right now up top, and as the time kind of ticks away, it tells you before. That'd be very
They
cool.
should have done it more of like a time trial, so I know if I get 50 seconds left, that's all of it, not hiding it from me because that's just not user friendly.
Right.
Yeah. Now there's a couple more. I want to specifically talk about the story and characters and that kind of jazz, combat traversal. But while we're on the side stuff, I figure we may as well stick there. The thing is, one of the biggest annoyances, if you guys go for the 100% completion, I finished today. The crimes drove me crazy.
They're
Because if you don't know, the game there's like I said, there's a bunch of things in the open world. You're swinging around, you can kind of do stuff. There's markers on the map for collectibles and that kind of jazz. Crimes just happen randomly, understandably
Random
so.
encounters.
And there's different sections of the city, and you
there's
just have
different
to.
types of crimes. There's like
Yes.
sable crimes and then thug crimes. and
There's no difference except
right.
more numbers. Again,
I don't think I've even unlocked Sable Crimes yet.
it's close to the end of the game.
Yeah.
Like I'm 5 missions from the end and I haven't even unlocked that,
Yeah.
which is beyond annoying to me.
But
Yeah.
no, it's very annoying. You're just kind of swinging back and forth in the same district, trying to wait until something unlocks. and, it's very annoying.
Last night I was doing exactly that.
I
was
would
like,
wait-
I've got 5 more thug random encounters to do, so I'm just gonna waste time and just sit here.
If I had to give advice to anyone, it would be to do that during the story. Like just
Yeah.
try and nonchalantly do it instead of grinding at the
Yeah,
end.
I got most of the thug ones already. Not all the demon ones yet because I started racing through the story to try and finish before this, which didn't happen. But before, like when I was going around getting the backpacks, or I have done all the landmark photography. While I was doing that, I got most of the crimes because they'd happen directly in front of me, and I was just like, might as well,
Yeah.
because
That's a good way to do it.
it does get annoying at points because you're just like, oh, this, but you don't have to do it. Like if you know, oh, I'm done in this district, then
Right.
whatever.
Now, speaking of collectibles, then, one of the most entertaining parts of the game is how inclusive I feel like the amount of costumes they give you are. They give you a lot of costumes, not all of them. Obviously, I noticed a couple exemptions, but you got everything. You got Homecoming, you've got lots of different ones from the comics. Ben Reilly's Spider-Man, lots of different ones.
Not only was there a lot of variety, you could change it as you will. You can
Yeah, that was
customize
really
it
cool.
as much as
I
possible.
was expecting to have to like
love
go back to a hideout or something.
Yeah.
You
No,
do
he
it
just,
in
he
the
just
middle
carries
of
all the suits with him.
no,
all the time.
no sense of reality there. He's gonna break the illusion a little
Yeah.
bit. Which one was your favorite to wear?
I mean, I've been just using the White Spider, just like the game's default.
Okay.
Just because I like the way it looks, and when you unlock the new ones, you get the suit powers, and I'm
Just translate it over. I mean,
yeah,
like,
I'm still using the focus one because sometimes I'm really bad at combat and dodging, so I need it so I can get the health boost.
yeah, there's a lot of accessibility with those suit powers. Like if you're having trouble with a specific aspect, there's a suit power to help you out. Like I found
Yeah.
that really nice.
I didn't even
and
use
gadgets.
the suit powers enough until like the end of the game. I was like, I should probably use these.
I pretty much only exclusively used the Web Blossom
Oh, yeah?
ability,
Yeah.
and then towards the end, I'm like, oh, this is like one of the final bosses. I should probably try some other things.
From what I've heard, Web Blossom is easily the best suit power.
I love the little
it's-
spider bot boy who electrifies.
Spider Bro or
yeah,
something?
He's really
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, because also the other thing is, I didn't use gadgets a lot.
Same.
And
That's a big
And
problem.
then you get into these fights where there's like 20 people crowding you, and you're like, oh, I have a web
Yeah.
bomb that will web every single person in close
The
proximity to
game
this.
could have benefited tremendously from, and we kind of talk about again how similar it is to Arkham and stuff, and you don't want to rip off specific things, but man, oh man, I got so comfortable with just the regular web shooters.
If you upgrade the web shooters and the impact webbing, you don't have to use anything else.
Yeah,
throughout the entire
thing
game.
is, what would have made it so great, how it is right now, again, if you don't know, is you hold down a button to pop up the little circle of all the up,
radial
and you pick
menu,
from
yeah.
there. It's something fantastic would have been a way to shortcut it. Make like an addition so like you could pick the ones to a side of the D-pad or something, so you can kind
or
of just
left and right on the D-pad to just
Yeah.
scroll through them
Yeah.
because those aren't used at
yeah,
all.
just kind of shuffle through. That'd make combat so much smoother, but you don't want to go to a menu in the middle of
Yeah,
combat.
yeah,
Yeah,
because
very annoying.
one of the main problems I have is for the beginning of the fight, I'll have the web bomb out, and I'll be doing that, and then I'll get one of the giant brute guys that I have to web up to do that, and my brain's just like, okay, just use your web slingers, even though I'm still on web bomb. So then
So
I
you
shoot,
just spray
I
these
just
rare-
shoot
these
all,
rare items?
I
Yeah.
shoot all three of them out at the same time, and then I'm like, oh,
I needed those.
Yeah,
I need
those
to
are very
switch those.
yeah,
And
very
you,
common.
those only get refilled in combat when you get takedowns.
Which suit was your favorite, or suits plural?
Oh,
I'm sorry. Okay, sorry. We can come back. We can come back to it. I should have distinguished that.
I like the white spider suit, but personally, I love the original suit that he wears in the very beginning. I
Yeah.
felt like that was really comic book accurate. I like,
Yeah.
and then also the literal comic book suit that
The
you get towards the
cel-shaded-
end.
I can't
It's
believe they put that in the
amazing.
game. I can't believe they put that in the game.
It's
in the
so
best
jarring at first,
Yeah.
but it's so much fun.
And
Too
then-
much to ask for, but could you imagine if like there's a filter that they could filter the
entire-
world?
That would be amazing.
I would never turn it off.
Oh,
And then
that
just a
would,
quick
that
thing.
would be such.
They kind of you could do a lazy way about it, and I'd still.
You
be
could
happy.
do a. I'm,
lazy cell shading. There was in like Uncharted, you could put on like a lazy filter.
yeah, but it wouldn't be. I
Agreed.
I would expect Borderlands quality
Yeah.
cel shading.
Yeah, still.
Just a side note, the underwear suit, honorable mention from me. Absolutely, I can't
You only
believe
get
they
that
did
for
it.
100% of the
Except-
game when you have nothing else to do.
I mean, technically, you see it for one
like
for
a
one
split
mission.
second.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I quite liked the. I only rocked like the Homecoming suit. It was very good, which looks unbelievable.
It looks more realistic in the game than in
Yeah.
the Homecoming
Oh, yeah.
movie. It is absolutely insane.
I
how
swear
well
they
it
just gave them the
I believe, yeah.
the model
Yeah.
because
That
I feel like
stealth
it looks better in the game because everything in the game is rendered and not
It kinda
not
goes
photo
there.
realistic, so
Yeah.
it just blends in better. But yeah,
Yeah.
they also made all the other suits, besides like the clothes and the underwear one, are from either the movies or the comics. There's two suits that were custom made, and that's the White Spider, which Insomniac made, and then the I forget, it's like the dark suit. It's the one you get from doing the Black Cat.
Yeah, I think
Stakeout
it's just
missions.
called the Dark
Yeah,
Suit.
yeah.
Yeah, and that was an
the
original
original
design
suit
by
was
a
as well.
comic book from one of the comic book artists.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So there's two original suits in there, and then everything else is either from a movie or a comic. And man, do they go deep into the comics.
Shout out to my boy Ben Riley,
Yep.
rocking his hoodie the whole time, or at least most of it. But yeah, no, lots of great features in there. So now, one of our last two big points, we're going to talk about gameplay and story, but let's start off with story because I feel like it's kind of the mixed bag, and we're not going to talk about spoilers, so we can kind of get through it briefly. What do you guys think about the characters, kind of the plot, that kind of jazz? It's the whole new universe, so how do you think about how they handled it?
I love the character interactions. There was a lot of moments between like Peter and MJ
Yeah.
where I was like, okay, I really love this. I love that they revamped MJ, where instead of being like a starving actress, she's like
Yeah.
a reporter. And then there was a moment with Miles.
They didn't go with the Sam Raimi.
Yeah, Miles was
version.
confirmed. We did not spoil it.
Yeah, that
He's
was
he's
in the
game.
trailers.
He's in the game.
There's a
He
scene.
shows up in one of the very first scenes when you like first put on the White Spider suit, and it's doing like the montage of him going around. When you go across the rooftop by the table, he's right there.
Right.
Oh, okay.
It's the first time you see him.
There's a really heartwarming scene between Spider-Man
exactly
and
what you're
Miles,
talking about,
and I absolutely loved it. I felt like they absolutely nailed
Yeah.
the characters
Is it
in
when
the story.
Miles is going to the feast shelter?
Yes.
That's the one you're talking about.
Ah, yeah,
Okay.
so yeah.
Yeah.
So I've only had two problems with the game so far. One of them was the
Okay.
first
I know exactly what you're
Tombstone
talking
side
about.
mission. The first one was the Tombstone side mission where you had to go find the truck. I spent way too long swinging towards the truck, and I get there, and then it's going, you're leaving the mission zone.
That
It's
happens, yeah.
Okay, so I went, tried to swing around the other side. Where the truck was, no matter which direction I tried to approach it, was outside the mission zone. So I had to restart the entire mission, which was fun. And then the first time I did the interaction with Miles, no voice at all.
That's probably better. I was gonna say my problem is that Miles knows Peter, and Peter.
Yeah.
We make fun of Dark Knight and stuff, but Peter doesn't change his voice.
No,
if
it's
you
very
put on a mask and start
recognizable.
talking to me, I'd be like, Parker, what are you doing?
Yeah, but Miles didn't have a voice at all. And it was completely a game error because not only were his sound files not playing at all, he didn't have subtitles. Which means the audio file for that didn't run because the subtitle file is attached to that. So it didn't run at all. So I'm sitting there trying to lip read Miles, and then because you control other people in the game as well. So that feeds into controlling Miles, and he still wasn't talking. And I was like, I kind of need what he's saying from a gameplay perspective, so I know what's going on. So I had to restart that mission too.
Yeah.
But other than those two, it's worked flawlessly. But those two, just like when you have a game so polished and something happens, it's just like.
I would
Why?
agree that the character interactions are really great. The acting is really great all around. I have no complaints about the acting. What they do with the characters, like I said, in terms of writing, the broad strokes of the story, what bother me. Like so, the intricate scenes and that kind of stuff, I have no problems with. I think that the dialogue's good. That being said, there's just a couple. No spoilers. The way that they decide to handle the antagonists, like who is the main antagonist, how they handle the kind of main antagonist.
I'm just trying to go no spoilers.
Okay.
Between Peter and his mentor,
Yes.
the reveal in the beginning of the game.
There's just it's a new universe, and so the way that they handle, I'm like, I get that you guys are stepping out on your own, but I just don't care for how you. I
Do you
respect
feel like
it.
they did too many villains?
You see, almost. Especially in the main story, I would have liked a few more to be side missions because like there's again trailer stuff. There's Rhino, Scorpion, Electro, and Shocker.
Yeah, I felt like they were pretty much ignored towards the end
Yes.
of the game, and I was really disappointed.
Side missions would have been great. I don't mind there being too many villains in a video game because it's spread out over 30 hours rather than 2 in like Spider-Man 3. But they weren't utilized well. I don't mind them being there, but it could have been used a little better. But yeah, the story I think is well made. The best parts of it are when they caught me off guard. There were a couple in fact, my favorite part of the game, I will not spoil, especially full transparency because of you. The ending, all of the ending, they do like 3 or 4 cliffhangers and plot twists, and I'm like, this is really great. I really wish that they started off.
Did you see like they did like their whole like end credit scene?
Yeah. Yes.
I thought they were going one direction, and then it seemed like they like mixed it with another.
No, it's
and
so much better.
I love what they're doing. now.
Legitimately, like that is the part that's like, oh, this is the cool thing about setting up your own. I don't know. Some parts of it I feel like they played safe, which is funny for making new universe. But the ending stuff, I'm like, the sequel's gonna be good, and I just hope that they refine the tedium, the gameplay struggles, the quantity over quantity, or quantity over quality. That's what I want. I hope that they can make improvements and make a better game because I really think that they're setting themselves up for good.
Yeah, and the technology that they have for all of it was like first showed off in Sunset Overdrive, which that's a whole conversation for another time because that was an Xbox exclusive, and now Xbox doesn't have exclusives. Completely different talk about how Xbox users needed to buy exclusives to get more, but like the technology they have for that is so good, and it's like completely their own. Like they made the entirety of it.
You gotta imagine that was the test for this
Yeah.
game, right?
Right.
Like in some capacity.
Well, because they've
or
always
what
had
happened.
good traversal stuff. So like they always say like when Marvel was looking at and Sony were looking at studios, like it was the perfect pairing, and it really was the perfect pairing for that. But yeah, I see you don't like the broad strokes. I was hoping I want more of like the universe because we're not Peter 15, we're Peter 22 or 23.
A decision I like again.
Yeah, I really like that decision because it puts us forward, except like he makes one-off comments. I'm not gonna think this is spoilers because the Avengers Tower is there, and during one of the points when you're swinging by, he says something about the Avengers Tower, and he mentions how he thinks they're on the West Coast right now, and I was like, so what's going? Like, I want to know more about the world. Like,
Yeah. Again, it's kind of setting up. Like, they probably don't even
Yeah.
know.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm glad that they didn't overextend themselves.
Agreed.
I feel like if they played it a little bit safer, it ran miles further.
It's
than
good that
before.
they didn't cameo like Iron Man or
Right.
Thor or anyone. It is just Spider-Man's.
Just Stan Lee.
Spoiler, yeah, that is right. And then
It's
so
not a spoiler.
I mean, that's kind of required
That's
for
like the third
Marvel.
mission in the game.
That's true, yeah. But last thing I want to talk about before we wrap up here is kind of, I guess, the meat of it. We got combat, we got traversal, stealth is gameplay. Now, my biggest problem, just kind of ushering in, like I said, the traversal I think is fantastic. I think it's really good. The long distance traversal, especially, they nail. That being said, the short distance traversal I think is really flawed. You're really floaty. It's kind of hard to get. Like if you want to just jump 2 feet, like you can't. Like you're bouncing all over because they expect you to glide distances rather than 4 feet away from you.
Yeah, you have to stop before you can go short.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to
exactly.
like just hit the dodge button just to cancel out, just to
all
land.
the time,
right.
all
Yep.
the time.
Yeah, air
Yep.
braking.
And also, my second thing is there's 2 types of stealth in the game. One of which is Spider-Man. It's very much Arkham-based. You're just kind of being a predator, taking down the enemies. The other is when you play, again, spoiler, it's in the first hour, it's fine. You play multiple times in the game. You play as different characters.
Yeah.
Again, we won't even go into depth.
It's in the trailers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But and the stealth there is horrific. I feel playing because they did it too many times. It's like you play as them like 6 times, these different characters, and you go from Spider-Man, who is, he can glide, he can swing, he can fight anything, and you turn to these guys who, the main thing is sneaking around in early PS3, late PS2 kind of things, where it's very scripted. You're going linear, and if you get caught, it's auto fail. It's very archaic, and I did not
I
care.
felt like the story, whenever you just started getting good momentum at playing as Spider-Man, they would just grind it to a halt.
Yep, every
and then
time.
you'd switch to a different character that, frankly, just. I mean, I appreciated what they were doing. It just wasn't as fun.
There was a time where you communicating with MJ about the next mission, and they mentioned something about MJ being there, and I'm like, I don't want to go to the next mission because I know I'm going to play as MJ. But I like MJ as a character, but man, oh man, and there was one scene in particular that I won't spoil as well, even though you probably already got to it. That was like, this makes sense. Playing as MJ, and like it's a really cool dynamic of. You're involved with Spider-Man, that kind of thing. It's like really well done, but
Yeah,
other
that
than
was
that,
that was easily the best.
very cool.
Was it
best
the
non-Spider-Man
one where you can
mission.
call in Spider-Man?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that was.
But
that
other
was-
than that, you're just, and it's so contrived how they fit it in the story. It's like MJ's breaking into places and
also-
risking your life, and I'm like, MJ.
The excuse they used in the universe was, well, I can do what I want, and then like I didn't sympathize with her at all because Peter had a point. Like he could survive a gunshot.
That's the
she
thing
can't.
too.
Yeah,
There's a big
They both
plot.
have points there.
Yeah.
Right.
As well.
There's a big plot of Spider-Man needing to give MJ more, let her go, do her
Yeah,
own
yeah.
thing, don't be so protective. But it's also, yeah, MJ, I agree.
But what are you doing?
He has superpowers
Yeah.
and can survive a bullet, hypothetically speaking. You
Just one person. Don't go up against an entire gang.
Which she does
holding
multiple times.
people hostage.
multiple times.
Multiple times.
Yeah, Peter has his Spidey sense, which saves him from danger, which is like a key point to that because like one of the suit's origins is from a comic. Like it's the first armored suit
Yeah.
that like repels bullets, all the bullets. Is from the comics from when he loses his Spidey sense, so he did that to counteract that. But it's like he has that. He can know things before they happen and dodge them. MJ can't. I was going to say, my main thing with the stealth missions is to be IGN here. You play a Spider-Man game to feel like Spider-Man, and you want
Did
to.
you like when we almost got through this saying feel like Spider-Man?
No, I had to.
Feel
I
pretty
had,
proud
I
of
had to bring it
ourselves.
up. Yeah, but then you're having fun doing all this, and then it takes you out. And those missions, like the stealth is annoying if you get caught, but the AI is so dumb. It is so. I
yes.
can hold the right trigger through the entire thing and
Right.
not get
The
caught.
enemy is all around in the game is horrible. There's times, again, it's a huge world. It's very polished.
Right.
But there's times where like I'll be fighting a group of gang members, and one of the gang members will just run. And I get it. In context, it makes sense, but it's not supposed to be like he's aiming his gun at me, but running away. And I'm like, all right, I gotta go chase you down.
Yeah.
See the flaws in the AI don't really show as Spider-Man because you're like, oh, he's running away from me as he should. Let me
yeah.
go chase him down.
I get
sort of
the-
thing.
yeah.
But when you're as MJ playing and going through,
They're deaf.
It
There's
really
multiple-
shines where you can walk right in front of someone,
That's
and like the
exactly-
yellow bar
yep.
would go very slowly. With
Yeah.
with the as you get further in the game, the like higher ranked enemies will see you faster, but it's still so easy where you can just like. I'm gonna use with the desk here. Like you have a box here, the guard's over here. You can go this way, he'll see you, and go back, and then just go around the other
You
way.
have these
You can just go
high-ranking-
way around.
You have these high-ranking government officials, trained killers, the best in the world, as they say multiple times. You knock over a toolbox to run by, they go over and go, huh,
That's weird.
that is weird, and go
Must
back.
have been the wind.
It's like, don't think so. But yeah.
It's like the other thing with when you're playing as her, you get like the distraction things you can throw.
Yeah.
And
Oh, must
like
have been a-
it makes noise. And it's like, I can understand where they're like, oh, something made noise. But you can see the thing on the ground
Right.
still. Like, they walk over to it and they're like, huh. And like, I'm sitting there going, I've thrown 3 right there, and I can see them all placed.
You
right
can see
there.
the arc of it, and it lands in like,
I
I
wonder-
don't know.
They could literally watch you pull out of cover, throw it, and then they still won't even
Yeah,
recognize that you were
I
there.
was going to say, they also, you want the AI to not be too smart because then it's impossible. But I feel like it was a little too dumb, but I actually didn't mind it because of how much the stealth sections took you out. It's like, oh, I get to play as MJ now. Let me just run through this really quick.
Yeah, I was kinda
except for the
glad
one
about how
mission
fast
that
you
I
could
was
move
like,
fast.
this is a good version of this. If more of the missions would have been, I'm not gonna say the same, but like that and done less
I think
times,
just
it would have
fewer. Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been better.
If they had more cooperative,
Co-op?
cooperativity, you know, like that,
Cooperation.
yeah,
Yeah,
cooperation.
I feel
Thank
that.
you. Yeah, like in that one mission, I felt like it could have gone much
Make it
further.
more of a team, yeah.
Yeah, but when they're isolated and it's just MJ, I didn't care. Like I can't. I'm just being honest.
So I feel like all in all, when we talk about our various things, we have very similar opinions about pretty most of it, frankly.
I do want to pull up one thing,
All right,
which
we're
is,
trying
yeah, I know, but they put a fast travel system in the game, which I get. Like,
Unnecessary.
games have fast travel systems, unnecessary. But then they put a trophy that's ride the subway 5 times, which means now I have to fast travel 5 times to fully get all the trophies.
To be
in the
fair,
game.
I fast traveled 5 times just to see all the cutscenes
That's
because
true.
they are
Very cute.
really
See,
nice cutscenes.
See, I didn't get many of the times I fast traveled, I got the same one.
Oh, okay.
Which they're really, they're very hysterical ones where you have Spider-Man sitting on the subway on his phone and the guy's like sleeping on his shoulder.
Right.
It's just like, and there's people just like, why is Spider-Man riding the subway sort of
Yeah.
thing. It's like a really nice thing and it's cool that it was there, but
Agreed.
it felt very
Hey, it's a
unnecessary.
compliment that you don't want to fast travel. You want to.
I'd rather it be there and not want it than the
Yeah.
other way around.
Yeah. That being said, Parker, gun to your head, would you recommend Spider-Man full price, half price? What are you thinking?
Full price. Even with all of its faults, I still think I've had the most fun with this game than any other game this year. So
well, there you go, okay.
Yeah, I feel like to me it's my game of the year.
That's hyper. That's totally fine. I'll respect that. What about you, Michael?
For sure, get the game.
Full price?
Full price.
Full price.
As soon as you can get it, I would recommend it because it's just tons of fun. Even if you aren't like huge into the Spider-Man lore or whatever, Yuri does a great job bringing Peter Parker to life. Does amazing job at that. All the voice acting, which I keep learning of people who are in the game that just continue to surprise me. It's top notch that I can't tell that that's that like. My go-to for that was J. Jonah Jameson. I didn't know who voiced him, but I was like, this sounds exactly like, because they took inspiration from the Sam Raimi Spider-Man. It's like,
Yeah.
this is
Alex
definitely
Jones.
him.
Oh,
yeah.
This is definitely him. And then I learned that it was Darren DePaul, the same person who voices Reinhardt, and I was just like, oh my God,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have gotten that ever. But
Yeah, I would. Agreed. I would also recommend it. Again, I have various flaws with it. I probably have a more negative opinion on it than most people, to be honest. That being said, if you're at all a fan of Spider-Man, I don't think you need our judgment. You need to. It's the best one, if only because of, like I said, this is a rare game where technologically advancing makes for a better game, and I think that that's quality, and I think that is well worth your time, well worth your money, and highly recommend it. So thank you very much, guys, for tuning into 8-Bit Chat. We've been talking about Spider-Man. We hope you enjoy it. Let us know if you want us to cover anything else. We'll be back in 2 weeks. I'm Angelo Rama alongside the lovely Parker Carlson and Michael. I almost said Michael Jones. I was thinking about Alex Jones. It's been a long week. It's been a long life.
other common last name things.
Thank you very much for joining us, everybody. We'll see you guys next time.